Meantime, a new dawn in a new era in Afghanistan. I don't even know if you can call it a dawn, to be candid. Maybe a new night. After 20 years of war in Afghanistan, the Taliban have taken over. I would hardly call it a dawn. The U.S. has officially left. The country is now in the hands of the Taliban. And this morning, the Foreign Affairs Minister, Mark Garneau, said the government is aware of at least 1,250 Canadian citizens, permanent residents, and their families still stranded in that country. So what are they left to do? How can they get out? Now, Canada has said it is working with the United States, through the United States, to negotiate safe passage with the Taliban. Is that even possible? Let's bring in the former NATO task force Kandahar commander, retired Major General Denis Thompson. Always thank you for your service to our country. Now there's been a confirmed of 1,250 Canadian citizens, permanent residents, and their families stuck in Afghanistan. From your network, sir, on the ground, what are you hearing? What are people doing right now?
Well, they're following the government's advice, and they are staying in safe houses, and they're hunkering down. Our network is doing what we call hibernating, waiting for this period of time to pass, whilst as you quite rightly point out, the United States leads a coalition to negotiate with the Taliban some form of safe passages, not only for citizens, but for those Afghans that supported us. And that will be some time in the making. And meanwhile, they need to reopen the airport in Kabul, which will probably be done by a team of Turkish and Qatari officials in order to make sure that the airport runs properly, that the Taliban can secure the outer perimeter, and that once these negotiations are complete, safe passage can be guaranteed for Canadian citizens, permanent residents, and those Afghans who supported us whilst we were in the country.
So a lot of people are sheltering in place, as you say, in safe houses. Are these safe houses that the government is providing some support for, or are these safe houses that your network and private donors and veterans are providing support for?
It's a combination of people staying in private residences or with family relatives who aren't under threat and whose residences aren't necessarily known by the Taliban, and safe houses that are funded by the Veterans Transition Network. And that cost about, well, it turns out to be about $20,000 a day for us to maintain these safe houses. And that's being done through private donations. We had a donors conference this morning. We gave them the track record of where we've been, and we basically laid out that we need at least 2 million Canadian dollars to get us through the next 3 months.
Okay, have you asked for government help in getting that money? Like, is the federal government and Global Affairs Canada going to provide that $2 million that your private network is using to support these folks in the safe houses, or is it all private donors at this point?
It is all private donors at this point. It's charitable donations, obviously. There was a request put into Global Affairs Canada by the Veterans Transition Network for $5 million because we may not need the entire $5 million, but we certainly want to be backed up by some form of fund that will allow us to keep this network running, particularly since it ebbs and flows in terms of its size, and we can't keep people in the same houses. So while we can say today that it's costing us about $20,000 a day, we don't know what that cost will be a week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks from now. So there's been a lot of work to keep these families safe and to keep moving them about, as well as the fundraising angle of it.
Okay, but you've requested financial support from Global Affairs Canada, and they have said what?
Well, I understand from the president of the board of the Veteran Transition Network that that request was denied. I don't know the precise reason. We'll wait till we see the formal reply to the funding request. But what it means to us is the money that we hope to get from private donors should carry us across the election line, if you will, and allow us to approach a new government when they're not in this, caught in this election mode, to address this issue more seriously.
General, I just want to tell you that just before this program, I contacted Global Affairs Canada to ask if indeed Global Affairs Canada has denied the request from the Veterans Transition Network and other organizations for some support for the safe houses. They say that they have not denied it, that they are working and negotiating for it, but they have not confirmed anything to me if they have formally denied it or they're working to actually get it. So I just want to tell you, literally, 2 minutes before my program started and you and I are speaking here, a representative of Global Affairs Canada said that there is no confirmation that it's been a denial or an approval yet. So you and I are following the story in real time as we're speaking. So as soon as I get any more confirmation, or you do, please jump back on the program. And I, of course, will inform our viewers if Global Affairs Canada confirms that they will pay some support for those houses. General.
Well, that would be certainly appreciated. And like I said, we're waiting to see the formal reply to this request for funds. And I'm sure that people can see the value in safeguarding these people. In some cases, these safe houses are shared by Canadian citizens and their family members who are still Afghans, but are part of this special immigration measures program. So it's not neat and tidy, and it's certainly something that's in the public interest, in my opinion.
Last thing, I know Canada has now agreed to take 5,000 Afghans in that the U.S. Has evacuated, which is good. But I've also heard that those who are not sheltering in place, many people have gone to the borders of countries like Pakistan, you know, the Spin Boldak border, where apparently it's mayhem there. Reports are saying that it's chaos there. What advice is your network giving to people who are trying an overland escape route?
We're certainly not in a position to contradict the government's advice, which is shelter in place. However, if they take it upon themselves and believe that they have the energy and the wherewithal to cross the border, there's nothing to stop them, I suppose. And of course, we are aware of several instances where people have successfully made it into Pakistan, and where they are now in the process of trying to contact the Canadian High Commission to get support and to be resettled back in Canada. And that is that's a process. That crossing is fraught with risk, one that we're not recommending. But for those that are hardy enough and well-connected enough, it seems to be working for the moment.
All right. Retired Major General Denis Thompson, if your side, if your organization gets any confirmation on those safe houses, let us know. I thank you for your service and your time, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Evan, and thanks for keeping the issue in the spotlight.